Hi everyone, as I mentioned last video, Passover is coming up this week, so we are going to read yet another Passover book, A Place for Elijah, by Kelly, Easton, Ruben, illustrated by Joanne, Friar. Place for Elijah. It is the first evening of Passover. Mama and Sarah set the table. We mustn't forget a place for Elijah, Sarah says. Every year at Passover, Sarah sets a place and leaves the door ajar so Elijah the prophet can come in and visit the Seder. I would never forget, Mama says, but it's awfully cold to leave the door open. Outside the window, a cold wind blows. Fat raindrops tap the pane. Let us in. Papa brings the colorful Passover plate. Little Jacob brings in matzah wrapped snugly in a napkin. I have a job, too. Sarah counts the places at the table. There are 6 places and 5 in their family. Mama, Papa, Ruthie, Jacob, and Sarah. That leaves an empty seat. Elijah will sit next to me, she says. Mama lights a fire. The flames yell at the cold with hot tongues. Go away! So cold for spring, says Papa as he looks out the window. Across the street are shops with apartments above, where the owners live. Music Man Miguel, Donut Dan, Bagel Ben, Mrs. Faze who arranges flowers, and the boy who sells magazines and chews bubblegum. The sky is melting from blue to gray. Soon it will be dark. The lit-up windows across the street go off and on. Look, Jacob says. The eyes on the building are blinking. Now they are closed. The power has gone off on the other side of the street, Papa says. Oh no, Sarah says. The neighbors will get cold. I hope it's fixed soon, Mama says. Everyone wash your hands. The family begins their Passover Seder. They say prayers, including one for the power to return to their neighbors. They tell stories about Moses and the Jewish people escaping from slavery into the Promised Land. Did you hide the afikomen? Jacob asked Papa. Later, the youngest child will find the hidden piece of matzah and get a prize. That is Jacob. Papa winks, which means yes. Suddenly, a bubble on the stairs and a knock on the door. It's Elijah the prophet, says Jacob. He doesn't knock. He just slips in, Ruthie tells him. Mrs. Faze carries a bouquet of tulips from her shop. I don't have any lights, she says. Please join us for dinner, Mama tells her. Mrs. Faze sits in Elijah's seat. I'd better get another place, Sarah says. Did I take someone's seat? Mrs. Faze asks. No, Mama and Papa say at once. Sarah sets a new place for Elijah. She pulls up another chair. Now there are 6 people and 7 seats, including an empty chair for Elijah. Papa serves chicken soup, fragrant with dill and onions, a matzah ball floating like a tasty island in the broth. He explains that Passover meal to Mrs. Faze. He tells her about the matzah and how the Jewish people had to leave Egypt before their bread rose. He tells her about the Seder plate, too. There is an egg for life, horseradish for the bitterness of slavery in Egypt, parsley and salt, water for tears, and a bone to remind us of the sacrifice they used to make in Egypt long ago. Haroset, says Jacob, pointing to the chopped apples with honey and nuts. Yes, laughs Papa. On Passover, everything has a story. Even the food. The haroset reminds us of the mortar the slaves used to making bricks. A scuffle on the stairs and a knock on the door. Bagel Ben comes in. I'm about to heat a can of soup when the power went out. No one wants cold soup, Papa says. We're so glad you came, Mama says. Bagel Ben sits down in Elijah's seat. Mama tells Sarah with her eyes not to say anything so the bagel man will feel welcome. Quietly, Sarah sets another place so that there are 7 seats and 7 people and 8 seats, including one for Elijah. A minute later, Donut Dan stumbles in, tripping on Yeti the cat in the hall. Yours are the only lights on the street, he says. Sarah adds another place so there are 8 people and 9 seats squashed in. Ruthie clears the soup bowls. Sarah serves gefilte fish nestled on the curve of green lettuce. with a dollop of purple horseradish. She makes sure the door is open so Elijah can still slip in. Papa tells the story of frogs, gnats, and locust plagues in Egypt. He drops 10 drips of grape juice on his plate to show sympathy with the Egyptian people for every plague. Then a ruckus and a knock, just a little monkey in a cap and a vest running circles around the table. Manny, Music Man Miguel chases after the monkey. You have to knock. Come join us, Mama says. Manny was cold, Miguel explains. The monkey jumps on his shoulder. He picks at the flower pin to Mrs. Faye's dress, pulling on the petals. Miguel sits in Elijah's chair, so Sarah pushes the chair from Papa's desk to the table. There are 9 people, and this is the last chair in the house. Sarah helps Mama carry in the brisket, asparagus, red cabbage, and potatoes sprinkled with parsley. Ruthie sits down, trim is rich with carrots and raisins, still dark across the street, she says. We've got plenty of blankets if the power stays off, Mama says. A Passover slumber party, cries little Jacob. Then a whoosh on the stairs and a tiny knock, then a creak and a crack, and the door opens. It's Elijah the prophet? Your door was open, the boy tells Magazines, stands shyly inside. His face is covered with sticky picked gum. It is so dark, so I couldn't see my bubble, and it was popped all over my face. Oh dear, Mama says. She gets a wet cloth to wipe off the gum. Come join us. There's plenty for everyone, Papa says. The boy sits in the last seat in the house. He sets his bubblegum neatly on the corner of his plate, heaped with food by Ruthie. Sarah's heart sinks. 10 people, 10 chairs, and no place left for Elijah. Will Elijah feel unwelcome and not come at all? Suddenly, Manny the monkey leaps onto the table, grabs a piece of matzah, and jumps back onto Miguel's shoulder. Manny bites down and crumbs rain down on Miguel's head. Everyone laughs, even Sarah. Thank you, says Bubblegum Boy. This is the best food I've ever had in my life. I've bought magazines from you, Papa says, but I don't know your name. It's Elijah, says the boy. Finally, little Jacob shouts. I knew you'd come, and Sarah did too. Sarah smiles at the boy. You never know how Elijah comes. Only that he does. And that's the end. I hope everyone has a fantastic Passover. Bye, everyone.